Hello everybody. This is another video take last week on a trip through southern Utah, filmed with a DJI Phantom 4 Pro drone shooting in 4K. This is the Old West town site known as Paria, and was settled in 1865 by Mormons led by Peter Schurz. And in 1871, the infamous John D. Lee came to Paria, trying to avoid the investigation of the Mountain Meadows massacre, and he helped build some dams and irrigation systems while he was there. Over the years, the population increased to 47 families, but with frequent flash flooding, washing away farm fields and some homes, by about 1892 there was only about 8 families left. Later on, in the 1940s, Western movies, films began being shot here, and continued on to about 1976 with the filming of the Outlaw Josie Wales. The movie sets that they had built for the filming were destroyed in another flash flood in 1998. And a little bit later, in 99 through 2001, some employees of the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, and some other volunteers tried to rebuild some of the destroyed movie sets, and in 2006 somebody burned that down, so it's all gone. We're flying now over where you see the fencing was where those the movie set was, and again that was burned down in 2006, so nothing remains other than the Park Service chemical toilet there. So we're heading downstream, and this is towards the north, actually. So we're heading north, and just almost in the middle of the screen now, a small kind of square fenced-in region. That's the old cemetery, and there's about 40 bodies interred there, about. We'll come back to that in a little bit on the return leg. So we're going to continue heading north towards the Paria River, or Paria River. You got towards the right there, kind of looks like a sandstone pyramid. So one of the things that's really neat about this place, beyond the historical significance, is that you have some really interesting land formations with great colorations and striping in the colorations of whites and browns and very interesting kind of colorations. I think some people refer to it as calico. Almost straight ahead and at the base of the cliff looking ahead of you is where the old town site, the original town site, was. But because of the flash flooding, and you can see the Paria River there, would have been quite a challenge to maintain homes and structures in that area with flash flooding. But when they rebuilt it for the movie, they built it this side of the Paria River and above the Paria River floodplain, but that didn't stop it from being destroyed by flooding. Flash flooding in a desert is a dangerous thing. In September of 2015, a series of storm cells that were remnants of Hurricane Linda produced flash flooding in Utah that took the lives of 21 people in a single day. 13 in the polygamous community of Hilldale, 7 in Zion National Park, and another man driving a vehicle on some dirt roads. His vehicle was found more than 6 miles south of the border in Arizona, more than 7 miles, I should say, and his body a further 6 miles downstream. So flash flooding is nasty. Now that's an amazing scene right there. That's an amazing scene. That is just beautiful. But the desert is not an easy place to make a living. And right there, towards the center and left, and moving out of the frame, that's one of the buildings of the original town site, but not much else is remaining. And that building is not in great shape either. So I wish I had gotten a little closer to that during the drone flight, but oh well. So, on my return leg here, heading basically south, a little west here, this dirt road that heads down to the Paria River is about 5 miles in length from the turnoff of US 89 at about the 31 mile marker. I think it's more like 30.7 mile. But in any case, that dirt road is about 5 miles long from the turnoff of 89 to the river. And it is generally a pretty passable road, even in regular passenger car. But if it rains, even a Jeep could be iffy. So, in addition to the concerns of flash flooding, which could actually take your life, you do have to be aware of the weather just to be able to navigate the dirt roads. So heading back up the canyon, and again we're approaching the cemetery. We'll get a closer look at that here in a second. All right, turning and now descending to take a closer look. And as you can see, it's it doesn't look like it's been very heavily visited. It's fenced in, of course, but there only seems to be a single path that goes from the gate towards the back, and otherwise I don't think there's been too much visitation. I'm sure there are still survivors, people who are descendants of the people who lived here, but it doesn't look like they visit the place too often, sadly. All right, continuing back up the canyon. And as you can see, in addition to the Paria River, which is mostly dry at this time of year and is generally dry most of the year, we also have these other stream channels or dry washes that, like the Paria River and the other flowing bodies of water in the area, in the desert, is dry 99% of the time. So it really only gets water in it when there's a flash flood. So you can be dry almost the entire year. Heavy rains will come down, and then you'll flash flood, and then 2 hours later, all you have is damp soil. There's nothing else flowing, maybe a trickle. But those flash floods can be dangerous. So we're approaching, for the second time, the movie set area, and again, it was destroyed in 2006, the rebuilt portion of it. And as you look to the right, coming down another stream channel, that dry wash. So I'm sure that was part of what destroyed the movie set back in the late 90s. And you can see the road kind of snaking uphill and back to US 89. We got a vehicle parked there along the way. And I'm a bit further up on the hillside with my controller flying the drone. So turning a bit to the east now. Flying over this cliff area. And there you have a rather large, almost house-sized boulder that almost looks like a salt cube, just a lot bigger. And still getting buzzed by birds. That's another cool shot of the ridge line kind of heading off towards the top. The desert Southwest, particularly Utah, it's very inhospitable. And you do need to have provisions if you go here. Water, for example. But as inhospitable as it is startlingly beautiful. Southern Utah is astonishing. So now this is about the southernmost excursion of this flight. I turn around here in a minute. The detail in the formations here is just amazing. The detail in the loose scree coming off the cliffside. .4K does a nice job in revealing that detail. So just a couple more minutes left here. We're turning around and heading back for a landing. Looking back towards the northwest. And just the richness of the colors here, the deep brownish red through the more salmon colored, chocolate colors, whites. And all throughout you have these dry washes, like the one right in front of us, kind of snaking along the base of the cliff face here, or the hillside. In the desert, there's two kinds of water. the kind of water where you can't find any because it's a desert, and then during a flash flood when you have too much. At the top of this hillside here, or ridge line, is the dirt road that follows down into the Paria River. And I'm parked along here just a little bit. There's my little blue car there. And you can see me kind of standing there at that point. It's a good place to kind of be able to see uphill and downhill, so I can fly the drone safely and do my job. So I hope this was of interest to you, and thank you for watching.